Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting again from WITV 7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. I love doctors of philosophy and best-selling authors and licensed master social workers and people from every walk of life that have discovered their reason for being on the planet. And that's why I love Dr. Jennifer Price. She's all those things. And she's also a next-gen influencer with more than 20 years of experience working with teens and young adults and their families. Dr. Jen, as she's called, shares content as an author, a speaker, and an online course creator on topics related to college admissions and career selection. So Jennifer, welcome to the Something Significant show.
Hello, Matt. Nice to see you today. I'm so glad to join your listeners.
Awesome. So just tell us, what are you doing these days to leave your mark of significance on the world?
Well, a lot of the things that you mentioned already. I mean, it is my heart to help teenagers and young adults, and I've done that in the classroom and also from the counselor's office and in my private practice. But I really wanted to have a much broader reach. I feel like there's a need for guidance and direction. And it's just my heart's mission to make an impact with the next generation in any and every way that I can.
That's great. So take us back a few years and tell us, what was the catalyst for making, I think, a really big life decision to go back to school to get your PhD 14 years after getting your master's degree? What caused that?
Let me just start by saying, Matt, I did not want to go back to school. Graduate school was not a piece of cake the first time around. And just the thought of, 5 to 6 or even more years to study and earn a PhD was definitely a daunting task. But my heart, my drive, my motivation is just to really help teenagers and young adults during such critical years make some decisions that could help make them happy and fulfilled and really make an impact on this world. And I knew that my current model of helping students, whether it was in the classroom, whether it's from the counselor's office, whether it's through my private practice one-on-one, I really couldn't reach the number of students I wanted to reach. And so doing what I was doing. And so the catalyst for me to go back was to learn how to use technology to disseminate my information to such a wider market of students and families. So that was it was my heart that drove me back to school. It's not that I really wanted to give up my life and go through that program because it was really tough.
That's interesting. So, and that's how you ended up with your PhD, which is pretty cool too. My dad's a PhD, so I love PhDs. Well, let's look forward 10 years and tell us how you hope to be impacting the world in 2030 and beyond.
Yes. Well, I want to continue helping the next gen through my book. I'll probably have a revised version of Generation Edge, the Student's 4-Step Guide to College and Career Success, and maybe even some more books as well. I hope to have a robust community built around my online course, College Edge. And I want to create an app called Scholarship Edge, where students and families can enter kind of what their strengths are and automatically see a generated list of strategies that their family could use specifically to help them lower the cost of college. And I do have dreams of offering a huge next gen conference for young adults as well, to equip them with information that they need, but also inspire them in their journey in their career.
That's great. What do you see with you've been in the business for more than 20 years now. COVID just happened. So many things changed. What do you see over the next 10 years are going to be the biggest changes that you expect to see in post-high school educational opportunities, whether it's going for college and advanced degrees or maybe trades? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think with the pandemic that's happened, it's really there's been a spotlight on distance education. And before I went back for my PhD, and my PhD, by the way, is in education. It's specifically in instructional design and technology. And I went back because I knew that I felt like online learning was the next wave in education, and I wanted to be on the front of that wave. And I feel like with COVID happening, families and students and families realized just how we were not ready in terms of distance learning and how there's still a lot of growth that needs to happen in that space. And so I would anticipate more growth and development, and college is doing a better job of doing online learning because I don't think it's going to go away. If anything, there may be even more opportunities for people as they continue to learn, whether it's in a formal way or in an informal way. And I also see more of industry stepping up and offering information to their employees or prospective employees, whether it's a certification program, whether it's on-the-job training. I see them stepping up to help people to enter the workforce sooner, giving them the skills that they specifically need for their positions. And so I see more of that. I kind of worry that it will still continue to be competitive and even more complex in terms of going to a traditional four-year school, just because more and more students are able to get the test prep that they need, and they still value the four-year education. And so I feel like those that choose to go on for a four-year education, it may be even more competitive to gain admissions in the future.
It's interesting, and I'm so interested in this, it's going to go too long, but education is one of the last things that we have people doing the exact same thing all over the world, teaching the exact same lessons that could all be taught by the best person in that lesson teaching and distributed instantly. But there's huge political and powerful forces that will prevent that. So do you see that we're going to end up with a hybrid system, that we have like rock star, superstar teachers that have followings and they are the curriculum producers?
You know, it's hard to tell if that's what will happen. I do feel like there's definitely value in continuing education and just lifelong learning. I don't think that's going to go away. That particular market is actually booming right now and continue to grow exponentially. And so that demand will stay there. And I also like to add that a teacher could be a rock star teacher, but if they're not using effective strategies to teach and motivate students in the learning environment online, they won't be effective. I think that's one of the reasons I have that instructional design and technology degree, is because I realized it's not as simple as being a talking head online to teach students. I mean, if you talk to parents across the country right now, those that had their learners at home, a lot of frustration. It was very difficult because they were trying to keep the student motivated. And it's not just about rote memorization, but also you want to teach the student to learn at higher thinking levels. And you want them to not only articulate what they're learning, but also synthesize it and also be able to create and produce themselves. And so there's a lot of challenges with the design aspect of it, no matter how effective someone is at being a lecturer. And so, of course, it will be interesting to see what happens with government and what kind of role they choose to play in terms of the cost of education and subsidizing or making it more affordable. I think that might potentially slow down the inflation associated with tuition rates, but time will tell.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Okay, Jennifer. So I define significance as doing things you love in places you love with people you love and creating something of value to others. It's doing and it's giving, but to be a giver, you need to have excess capacity in your life. So what are your personal practices, physical, mental, spiritual, financial, emotional? What do you do to take good care of yourself and create enough that you have more to give to others?
Well, starting with physical, Matt, I would say I do try to take care of my health. I was an athlete in high school. And so I've continued to try to exercise. I do a lot of walking. I enjoy 5Ks. I also hit the gym when it's safe. I have a gym community that I belong to, which helps bring motivation in terms of keeping that going because I have relationships. And I also do things like self-care. I'm a social worker, so we talk a lot about self-care, whether that's journaling, whether it's taking a bubble bath, whether it's getting a massage or a pedicure, those types of things, reading a good book. And so just the little things I think can make a big difference in terms of just having capacity to give. Spiritually, I am involved in a place of worship. And I do have a Bible study group that I belong to as well. And even professionally, I belong to a couple of mastermind groups. And so I'm sharpening my sword with peers who are in the similar space of being an author or an online course creator, and those that are using social media to spread good. And so those are some of the ways that I have, I build myself up. I'm able to build myself up so that I can continue to give.
That's great. Okay, Jennifer, let's take a commercial break because I want to tell everyone about three things. A super cool company called Dry Farm Wines, how they deliver chemical-free, sugar-free wines right to your doorstep, and how every purchase that you make for this entire month will support a great big donation to WITV7. Mr. Happy Living here. I love good things made by good people. That's why I love Dry Farm Wines. I first met the man known as the healthiest wino on earth back in 2016. He claimed Dry Farm Wines don't cause headaches or hangovers, and that he started his company because 99% of wine consumed in the US is highly processed and loaded with nasties. Like most processed food, it's toxic. That very night, I made a big health decision. Toxic wines out, natural wines in. It's been nearly 5 years since I made the switch, and I feel great. Go to happyliving.com, select Partners in Happy, and get your first bottle of natural wine for 1 penny. And I'll donate 8% of every order placed for the entire month of March to WITV7. So share the gift of natural wine with a friend. It'll make you both happy. Okay, we're back, and this is the Something Significant Show, and I'm Matt Gersper. Hey friends, do yourself a great big health favor. If you drink wine like I do, make sure it's toxin and chemical free. Dry Farm wines are so natural and deliciously clean, they don't cause headaches or hangovers. I love opening the bottle and sharing it with a friend. And now let's get back to my wonderful guest, Dr. Jennifer Price. Her college counseling business, You Vise Me LLC, helps families experience less stress and more success during their college and career searches and in the application processes too. Many of her clients are even awarded substantial scholarships. So Jennifer, in my second book, Turning Inspiration into Action, I explore the idea that big transformations and discovery of purpose often come from devastation. Addictions, disease, death, disaster, some big crisis shakes your life. But I've used a happier way and created transformations in my life with inspiration. So for you, was there a moment, a specific moment or a situation when either devastation or inspiration revealed to you the life that you were meant to live?
Yes, when I was in college, working on my undergraduate degree, I almost lost my full-ride academic scholarship. And I almost lost it because I was essentially in the wrong major. I was pursuing a major in pharmacy, and it really was not for me. And one of the core courses required is called organic chemistry. And so I took it the first time, ended up dropping it just because I realized I bit off more than I could chew. Second time I took it, I made a D. And then I took it yet a third time and finally earned a C. But at the end of the day, I just realized, despite all of my many, many, many efforts, I was truly miserable. I did not enjoy it. I was studying all the time. My eyes were red. I was in the library, had the molecular models. I did everything I could to be successful. And it just occurred to me that maybe I could study something that I truly enjoyed. And I went for career testing and I found a match.
What was the choice to go into pharma first in the first place? Was that?
Well, my major as a pharmacist came from a place of wanting to choose something related to the health sciences, something prestigious, something that would pay a lot of money, something my family members approved of, versus what was truly a fit for me and how I was designed. And so I ultimately changed to sociology and later social work for my second degree. And when I made that change, I was on the dean's list right away. That was confirmation that I made the right choice.
That's awesome. And that's so important when you're doing things and when things are tough in life, and it feels bad, that's a sign that something's the matter. When things are tough in life and it feels like like thrilling, like you are an athlete, I was an athlete, you're training really hard. It's really awful. You're hurt, you're suffering, but you're excited about it. There's something, even through the storms, there's an excitement. And so when you made the switch, you felt the latter.
Absolutely. And I'm so grateful that I acknowledged that feeling that was not okay. And I did something about it.
How hard was it from the family and from the support standpoint?
They did not approve. They were quite disappointed. And so I felt that disappointment for many years. And now here we are today. I have a PhD and I have a best-selling book and an online course. And so now they're singing a very different song, but it took many years of me being true to who I really am and who God created me to be. I had to accept myself.
Yeah.
And then their acceptance came a bit later.
Yes, I was reading about this morning, and you made me think of the quote. It's flow everywhere there's an opening, rather than forcing. So you were forcing science, and then you just flowed to the social science, to the other direction. What was your major?
I was a pre-pharmacy major for probably more than half my undergraduate career. And even when I made that change to sociology for the bachelor's in preparation for a master's program in social work, I was still able to graduate in very close to 4 years. It still worked out. Unfortunately, those difficult courses became electives.
Yeah.
Which, wow, organic chemistry did not need to be an elective, but it
couldn't escape.
We learn from our mistakes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, that's great. So we've talked about capacity and then discovery of purpose. And when you combine those two, the sky's the limit. It's what I call the happy formula. Capacity plus purpose equals happy. But I know the real magic of life comes from the fourth element of significance, which is doing work that creates value to others, for others. So, Jennifer, I finally figured out why this works. It's not just the giving that's magical, but it's giving from living in your purpose. That's where the magic is. So tell us, how does it make you feel when one of your clients recognizes the value you give and tells you, and this is a quote, "It's been over 10 years since I applied to college, and I can confidently say I still think about how amazing Dr. Jen was and how I couldn't have done it without her." And another one says, "We're all thrilled and deeply appreciative of all your help. You made a big difference to my daughter's confidence and sense of direction." So Dr. Jen, tell us, how does that feel?
That feeling is priceless. I can't even put words to what it does to my heart to know that I've made an impact, a lasting impact on the life of another person. And it's in some cases it's become a rite of passage for children in a family. You know, it's your turn to go see Dr. Jen, and I've helped maybe all 3 of their children. And even recently, I had an opportunity to serve one of my former students' spouse. I helped all of the children in that family, and now I'm helping the spouse of one of those former students. And that trust that they have and just in my ability to work with them and help them find the right path. My heart is so full, and I'm truly grateful that I listened to that small voice to make that change. I'm just so grateful.
I've been really working on this concept because when person after person after person that I interview, is living like I am living, which is working in my purpose. So I'd spend all my time doing things that I love to do and sharing and giving. And if somebody reads a blog post of mine or reads a book and they tell me, hey, Matt, you really helped my life, you really changed my life. It doesn't just make me happy. It's like a thrilling thing. And I ask my guests and they say the same thing. I'm trying to figure out, why is this? And I finally figured it out. It's when, if you are in your purpose, you're living inspired, and you share that with somebody, you're giving yourself to them, your authentic, genuine self. You're not calling it in. And if that improves their life, it is like this major thing, right? Lifts your spirits. You don't run out of energy. You know, you're just excited as can be. And if you're not getting that, then I think you were in a pharmacy program where you didn't belong, right? You can't get that feeling. So go for that feeling, folks. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, we've got one of my favorite sections of the interview is called the lightning round. And I'll read one of my very favorite quotes and then ask you to respond, telling what it means to you. And this gives us a chance to see how you think and view the world. So the first one is from Thoreau. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined.
Yes, I think it's so important for us to be true to ourselves and the vision that we have of our future, of why we're here and what we're put on this earth to accomplish. And so I think it's important to go hard after that. What's in your heart? I think that's where that fulfillment will come from. If you pursue what's truly in your heart, I think it'll make your life so much more fulfilling.
What do you think? What prevents us from pursuing what's in our heart? Where do you think the obstacles are?
I think fear is a huge obstacle. Just worried about failing, or in some cases, worrying about success. And so that fear causes paralysis in action. And one of the things that I believe, and what's helped me to move forward, is to learn how to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Do it afraid. I learned that from Joyce Meyer and just minister. And so just whenever you are like, I don't know if I can,
Mm-hmm.
you take that baby step anyway. And I learned that even if we fail, we're still moving forward and we can learn from that failure. And so that just even that growth around being afraid and being afraid specifically of failure and even experiencing failure, I realized that, you know what, I can always regroup. I can always get back up again when I make a mistake, when I fall short. I can always get back up again and keep moving. I can learn from that. And so that took away some of the power from the fear.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, sure, I might fall on my face, but guess what? I tried and I can get back up and not make that mistake again.
Yeah.
I might make a different mistake, but I'm moving forward.
And we all do. I think it's discerning the difference between what's in your heart and what's in your head. And when you feel inspired and you say, hey, I want to do this thing, and you're really excited about it, and then you start hearing the buts. Yeah, I can't do it because I don't have enough time, or because I'm a man, or because I'm a woman, or because, whatever the reason is. And your ego talks you out of doing things. Culture, it's so many things that can weigh on you. I call it the forces of gravity that hold your life in place. And you're exactly right. The trick is just to step out and baby steps and then build on it. Okay, this one's from Dr. Wayne Dyer. Even if no one sees or acknowledges it, a silent blessing or thought of love towards others contains a vibration that will be felt throughout the cosmos.
I think that people can sense when others are genuine, when there's truly care there. I've worked with teenagers and young adults for many years now, and they are really good at telling if you are genuine or not. Are you really concerned about me? They can just, they can see the truth. And I believe that other people too, can tell. Do you really care about what's best for me? And I believe if we live a life where we really are here focusing on what we have to give and being a blessing, I think that people can pick up on that. And I think it also gives people an opportunity to kind of lower their guard. And when we show up as who we really are, and with us being honest with one another, I think that's a really great opportunity for us to connect in a way that is very powerful.
See, that's interesting too. So when you're living in your authentic self, and that's what you're presenting to the world, we just talked about it earlier, that makes you happy.
Mhm.
If you're living that way, others take their guard down, and so that makes your job, your work, your relationships, everything gets easier, and it's a virtuous circle upwards. Then you do more of what's in your heart, and you're more and more authentic. You help more people, and it just grows from there. And the opposite is also the case. If you're not living in your spirit, in your heart, you can't really be happy and authentic, and that's going to create blocks from others because they're going to recognize that in yourself.
Yes.
Pretty
When we
good.
show up as ourselves, I think it gives other people permission to be themselves as well, to be real.
Some of these guys with quotes are pretty smart. From Friedrich Nietzsche, you must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star.
I think we have to have unrest. There has to be conflict. There has to be pain. When the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of the change. That's the quote that what my late pastor Jim Lillard shared with me. Sometimes that discomfort is what will make you take action, and sometimes comfort can be the enemy to growth and fulfillment. And so when we are just like, this is not what I'm doing is not working for me. I'm studying this organic chemistry course and I'm miserable. And so that was a catalyst for change for me. And I think that those discouragements and the unrest in others is a great opportunity for growth.
Yeah, we got to pay attention to that. When you're not excited and happy, something's wrong. We are actually supposed to be excited and happy. I think that's how humans are supposed to live. You made me think when you were answering that. This is directly from the Declaration of Independence for the United States. Quote, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed.
Right.
So even if my life sucks, at least I'm used to it. And so we'll settle. And I think what you're saying here with Nietzsche is we have to pay attention to that and not settle.
No. We can live a so much richer life by not settling. I've even heard a quote about just, being average and letting that be an enemy. I think we were meant to be extraordinary.
Yes.
And so.
One of the worst things that ever happened to me in my life was in, I think, my senior year in high school. I got voted most typical boy. What?
What does that mean?
I don't know, but I didn't like it. Okay, this is from my past. I don't know the author. Other people's opinion of you is none of your business.
Right. We cannot focus on what other people think about us. We need to love ourselves and accept ourselves before we worry about what other people are thinking, because they don't know who we really are. And so I feel like once we, truly operate in our gifts and our calling, and we show up as ourselves, again, I think that's a powerful thing, because I think there is a ripple effect from that. And so if we allow other people's thoughts to rule us, it can become a cage, and it can keep us from flying and soaring. And we were meant to soar.
Yeah, very good. Okay, this is the show favorite from Goth. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
That quote is all about action for me, and the importance of how we need to take action. And even when we have to take the baby steps, that's fine. I mean, even when I was first starting out in my career, I had this huge vision of what I'm doing now. And, I was just starting out. And so what I did was I would take a little bit from my paycheck, whether it was $20, $25 each month, and I would invest it into my business. It made at one point, it might have been a set of business cards. It might have been looking at some certifications or professional development opportunities. So whatever I could do, I made progress towards my dream. And so that's what I tell people now. Do something every day towards your dream. And as you take those steps, it builds your confidence. Yeah. And it inspires you to do more and to be more. And before you know it, you've made progress and you're living that life that you've dreamt of.
Yeah.
Like that Thoreau quote.
Yeah. You remind me of one of my favorite words it's a Japanese word called kaizen. Mm-hmm. Small incremental steps add up over time to yield big results. And if you just keep at it, folks, day after day, year after year, it works. And it works the other way. If you don't do what you're supposed to do day after day, year after year, it makes a big old mess. Okay, Jennifer, you've been a true delight, but now our time's coming to an end. So would you kindly just take a minute or two and share any parting remarks that you'd like to leave with our audience?
Yes, and like I said before in our conversation, I feel like I'm truly here to help as many students and families as I can. And I have a heart to just be a blessing. And one of the ways that I'd like to be a blessing to your listeners is to offer them a free checklist to help with the college admissions process, starting with their students as young as 7th grade, all the way up through 12th grade. And so if you want to connect with me on social media, find me on Instagram at Dr. Jen Price. Again, that's at Dr. Jen Price on Instagram. If you DM me your email address and what grade level your student is in, I will send you a free parent resource, that checklist that will help you to get going on the college application process now.
That's great. And now, folks, I'm calling on you to share a little love. And every little bit matters. So if you hear my voice and you were inspired by today's show with Dr. Jennifer Price, please donate what you can to WITV7. They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage. They do good works with your kindness. And Jennifer, thank you. I really admire the business niche that you've carved out, helping families navigate the application and admission process for college and career. And I love the way you're repurposing your proprietary content with books and talks and online courses to reach a broader audience. Helping others to improve their education and career prospects is an awesome thing, and it helps the world become a better and happier place too. So thank you for living in your purpose.
Truly my pleasure. Thank you for having me today, Matt.
You bet. And thank you, WITV7, for hosting and promoting our show so we can keep reaching folks out there ready to create their own extraordinary lives. A special thank you to our sponsors for the month of March, Dry Farm Wines and Happy Living. Remember, folks, I'll donate 8% of every purchase you make for the entire month to WITV7. So tell all your friends too. Just go to happyliving.com, select Partners in Happy, and shop Dry Farm Wines. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to websites and social media and all things Dr. Jen Price. Find her, friend her. If your family has a college-bound student, check out her College Edge online counseling course and buy her book, Generation Edge, the student's 4-step guide to college and career success. And check out her free checklist too. From me to you, dear friends, I love you and I want you to be happy. We do what we do on the Something Significant show to inspire you to live life to its fullest, to believe as I do that a better self is always possible today and every day for the rest of our lives. 2020 is over. This is 2021 and it's your time. So be bold. If you've been dreaming about it, then get on with it. Start moving along your special path, the one to your dream, your unique and distinctive journey, because that's where you're going to make your mark of significance on the world. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome, and this is the Something Significant show. And we're out.